Let's bring in Jonathan Turley, constitutional scholar and professor at a respected law school, the one at George Washington University. John, thanks for your time tonight.
Thanks, Keith.
Explain what makes that into a criminal matter.
Well, it can be a criminal violation in terms of Goodling's behavior. It certainly, at a minimum, is a violation of Title V. It is one of 8 or so prohibited practices in the federal government. You cannot discriminate or hire on the basis of political affiliation for these types of positions. It can go to a criminal matter, depending on what she may have told investigators or what she may have done as part of that process. But at a minimum, what it is a very serious federal violation.
We know about this immunity, partial immunity that Goodling has been granted. Would it apply? Do we know if it applies to actions already being investigated before her testimony? Will this complicate the congressional goal of getting her to say whose orders she was following?
It does, Keith. That is, Congress needs now to be very, very cautious. They're giving her testimonial, not use immunity. And the difference is, all the immunity does for her is protects her from the use of her actual words, her testimony against her. But if they do not fully investigate this matter, she can go in and basically spill the beans about things like these political affiliation violations, and she could not be prosecuted. That's what Oliver North did. The reason he didn't face jail ultimately is because he was able to say that his testimony before Congress was being used against him because they had not fully investigated the crime as of that point. So what Congress needs to do is delay any testimony by Monica Goodling and fully investigate this so they get that in the bag so she can't claim that her testimony led them to various facts or people.
How does the president reconcile what would naturally be his prerogative to name political appointees with these various laws that ban religious, ideological, or political litmus tests in hiring for these positions?
Well, once again, I feel like I'm a broken record about talking how serious these matters are. What we're talking about here is the use of politics for career people who are supposed to be selected on the basis of their talent. This administration has been accused of incompetence from Katrina to Iraq to various other scandals. And it's beginning to appear that the reason is because they're not hiring people for their competence. They're hiring them like they're Baathists, like they're loyal to some supreme leader, and not looking at how good they are as lawyers. That violates centuries of, decades of tradition, actually centuries if you go back to the principles upon which this republic was founded, that there are political appointees. It is appropriate to have policy makers that follow your policies. But when it comes to doing the public's business, we're supposed to pick the best people, not the people most loyal to President Bush or Karl Rove or anyone else.
On this other matter of the Rove emails, is Senator Leahy more likely to get them because he's targeting the people who received them? Will it ultimately matter, or has the White House successfully insulated itself from any of these probes, whether they're criminal or otherwise?
I think Leahy is at this point unstoppable because of the mistakes the White House has made and these allegations. There's a misconception that executive privilege is an absolute protection for the White House. It is not. Even when it applies, and it may not apply, the court says it can be overcome by a compelling interest in Congress. Leahy's now investigating possible crimes. He's had statements made to Congress that appear quite clearly to be false. Those are very compelling situations, and he's being very smart. He's asking first for emails that go to Justice Department officials. He's entitled to those emails because they dead-ended in the Justice Department, which fall under his jurisdiction. It's a smart move. And if those emails show any evidence of crime, then he's going to be a bulldozer, and he's going to go straight for the White House. And I think he's going to succeed.
Yeah, forget executive privilege at that point if those emails turn anything up. Professor Jonathan Turley of George Washington University. As always, sir, great thanks.
Thanks, Keith.